the Junior League of Dallas are the incredible women who lead, serve, and inspire. Inside is a monthly video series dedicated to celebrating the voices and experiences of our members. Join us as we take an inside look at the stories that shape our league.
I think one of the main things to do when you go sustaining is to give yourself a huge pat on the back for the work that you've done, not only for the community, but on yourself.
On this month's episode of Insight, we wanted to demystify being a sustainer. As someone who could be a sustainer, but I'm not yet because I'm still, I guess, having fun being active. I'm excited about this conversation. So I'm with Lori, and she's the current sustainer president. And the first question I wanted to ask you is a little bit just about your background when you were an active member in the league.
Sure. I just realized that I've been in the league 35 years, and I literally was drug kicking and screaming because I was like, there's no way, that is not for me. I don't know. I was like, that is
my preference to join.
I was like, but Jan Langbein from Genesis, I was working for her at the time, and she was like, you're joining this, and I was like, okay, I will, but I did a couple of years of community placement, which was great. Did eQuest and was R&D chair 1 year. I chaired the ball, which is kind of the equivalent to chairing the luncheon and being development VP at the same time. I had about 250 women under me, and we raised a lot of money, which was great. But I loved every single placement, and I learned so much, and I learned so much about myself, and I learned so much about the community.
What would you say was your most impactful placement that you been on? Because I tell people all the time, I was an MAL 1 year on R&P, on research and planning, yes. And most people don't know what it is, and I'm like, it was probably one of my favorite placements ever because I just learned so much.
You learn a lot, don't you? I really loved being an R&D chair. I actually
I've been on R&D.
I loved being a researcher. It was just I learned again so much about the community, so much that I didn't know. But probably one of the most impactful positions for me was to be ball chair, and we were kind of going through a bit of a transition at the time with the league, and kind of moving from a really grand fancy ball to more of a donor recognition event, and it being a fundraiser, but having the opportunity to lead an amazing group of women that were able to raise over $1 million and put it right back into the community, especially combined with the volunteer hours. It was an amazing experience.
But it was. When I was joining the league, the ball was just starting to phase out or whatever, but I'm like, I've seen the photos and the videos. I was on comms the 100th year, and we posted about it a lot, and I had to go dig through the archives, and I'm like, it looked like y'all had fun.
We had a great time. We had
all the ball gowns.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
It looked fun.
Yes, it was really fun.
What would you say a day looks like for someone who's a sustainer, whether it's volunteer or special interest groups, or what do you do as a sustainer?
Well, as a sustainer, first of all, let me just start by explaining what a sustainer is. A sustainer is actually somebody that's put in their hours, and you are kind of graduating to a non-required placement to more volunteer opportunities. But I think the day in the life of a sustainer, for me, it's attending a couple of board meetings for different boards in town that I sit on that I would have never found out about without the Junior League of Dallas. Let's see, and then, just going to sustainer interest groups, whether that's, we have over 25 sustainer interest groups.
That's a lot.
Everything from topics and trends to, there's 2 antique groups, there's a multitude of book clubs, mahjong, there's a travel group, there's a dining group that all they do is go and, try new restaurants. There's, a wine drinking group, which there's so much. And once you find, there's different garden clubs as well, but once you kind of find your pack, there's so many women that have been in the same group for 40, 50 years. It's incredible.
That doesn't, sound incredible. So what drew you to want to be like Sustainer president, and what would you say has been like the highlight thus far of getting to be the Sustainer president? Because I think a lot of times people don't even know that there is like a Sustainer president.
Right. So
like
true.
unless you're on development maybe and know about like the development collective and how we're collaborating. Like
so
a lot of people
true.
just don't know.
No, I think you're absolutely right. As you and I spoke about before, I think half of it is who asks you to do it.
Yes.
You know, and in who you're following and who's going to be after you as well. I mean, you know, you don't want to go into a train wreck of a situation. You want to go in, which I haven't really experienced that with the league, but, you know, in whatever position you say yes to. Probably the highlight has been getting to know Lindsay and getting to the current president and getting to know some of the actives, really reconnecting with them. And Lindsay's theme for the year is gather, and so ours is together, so gather together, but to gather together with the actives and, you know, mentor you and let you mentor us in return, which is a really big part of it. Y'all keep us young.
And I was going to ask, but you kind of already like answered this on how you picked your theme of together, but you
Yes.
said like because you wanted to be together with the
Yes,
actives,
yes.
which I actually think is really like cool. Like I'm an MAL on underwriting this year, and I was given like a sustainer. I guess they're calling them sustainer coaches,
Yes.
where we can lean on and learn.
Yes.
And I don't like fundraising or asking for money.
Right.
I was just like, I want to do this before I go sustainer or whatever.
Right.
And I'm learning a lot. Like it's not been easy just cold sending these
Right.
emails and texts and calling people, being like, hey, please
Yeah.
buy a ticket to luncheon,
Right.
donate money.
Yes. And then the follow-up is the hardest. But I think, you know,
Yes.
and everything I learned about fundraising, I learned right in this building, right here. And, you know, I had a sustainer that told me a long time ago, the worst they can say is no.
It's true.
You
It's
know?
true.
And so you're like, okay, it's either going to be, I'll think about it, yes, maybe, they don't call you back, or the answer is no. And, you know, that's not so bad. But it also gives you an opportunity to really talk about, you know, the league and what we do and kind of the commitment we have to the community. But I think kind of back to being a sustainer, and one of the best things about being a sustainer is getting to take your knowledge and your leadership into the community. And, you know, when you're asked to serve on a board and they look at you for leadership and they want to know, you know, what do you think about this budget? And what do you think about new hire? And what do you think about this program? That kind of thing.
And what would you say has been like a favorite memory in Junior League besides getting to chair the ball?
There are so many. Probably one of my favorite memories is going on the Junior League retreat, which
Mhm.
again, Jan Langbein made me go, and I was like,
Did they split you up? Because I went with
Oh,
my friend,
yes.
and then we walked in. They were like,
Oh, no.
"But you can't hang out together."
Yes.
And I was
No.
like, "Excuse me."
yes, no, they absolutely did. But I was like, I don't want to go on that, spend the night, I don't know anybody, that's going to be so weird. And, you know, I found my people, which was
You
just
do,
the
you do.
greatest. And I'm still super good friends with some of those women today.
I love that. I guess I'm still friends with quite a lot too. I mean, some of them have like their sustainers are not in the league anymore, but I am friends with quite a few. And so the last question is, do you have any piece of advice for anyone who like is looking to go sustainer? Kind of this idea came about because someone that we served with on comm, she was like, I can go sustainer, but like, what do they do? Do I want to go sustainer? She's like, I hit my 10 years. I was like, I know, girl. She's like, what are you doing next year? And I was like, well, they wrote me in. I'm on leadership council next
Yeah,
year.
right.
I'm not going sustainer.
Right.
Or stop asking. But like, lots of people, like for me personally, I know can go sustainer and they're trying to decide like, is it for me? And so
Sure.
what would you say to them?
I think, personally, I felt like it was I was falling off a cliff. Because Junior League had been such a big part of my life, you know, the days, the evenings, the weekends, not obviously 24/7, but it had been a huge part of my life. I think one of the main things to do when you go sustaining is to give yourself a huge pat on the back for the work that you've done, not only for the community, but on yourself. It's a great opportunity to really learn and develop yourself, which is kind of a real wonderful side benefit. I think also to join a sustainer interest group, which is just
Y'all
absolutely
have fun. I've
key.
hung out at a few.
We have a great time. Well, I was at one last night, and it was just a blast. We had a wine and cheese tasting, and it was so fun. And the thing was, is I met probably 15 women that I had never laid eyes on in the week. And I'm like, well, where were you all? You know?
So what's your favorite like group that you've hung, as someone who runs, I run a special interest group, like for actives, the Explore Dallas group, what is your favorite? Because I've hung out with a ton of like the special interest groups for actives, and I've hung out a little with some of the sustainers when they'll have ones that are open to actives, and I'm like,
sure,
I'm coming here or whatever. But like, so I'm curious, what has been your favorite?
Sure. Probably one of the cooking groups that I was in, Spice It Up 2, because Spice It Up 1 became so popular that it was full. And I mean, it was a great opportunity to really connect with other women that like doing exactly what I did, and were like-minded as well.
That is nice.
So, but I think, you know, joining a sustainer interest group, get out there and learn, use what you've learned in the league. Be a leader in the community, because we are the ones that people are turning to.
This is true. And I have one more question that I just
You
thought
bet.
of. So, like, talking about joining a sustainer group, I'm curious because I have seen it in the past. Like, say someone wants to go sustainer, and obviously you're not required to have a set amount of hours, but you're like, I'd love to do one little like project or help out. Like, what is something that y'all have worked on this year? Because I know, like, in previous years, you've like gone to the North Texas Food Bank,
Sure.
or one time there was like a brunch, a scholarship brunch.
Sure.
So, like, what are some of the, like, so people get an idea that like there's still an opportunity once or twice that you could still sign up and
Sure.
volunteer here, but also you're not required.
Sure.
The pat on the back,
Yes,
like you did your time.
Exactly. And you're not gonna have to go and do 60 hours. You can volunteer half a day or whatever. Probably, you know, well, we participate in the back to school, mayor's back to school fair with you all.
I sat next to some ladies this year. I volunteered.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool. It was just like, it was the most amazing experience.
I met a lady, she was like the original photographer back in the 70s of the Junior League. I was like,
love
this is really cool. As a photographer, like we were sitting around and talking
love
and
that.
whatever, and she was talking to me.
I love that.
She was really nice.
And then this weekend, we actually have an amazing opportunity at a nonprofit in North Dallas. We have been collecting gowns and for the prom closet. So, I mean, gowns and jewelry and shoes and handbags for women that, you know, they're going to prom, and you all remember how expensive prom is. I mean, it is not an inexpensive endeavor.
No, not at all.
But these gals can come in and choose whatever they want, free of charge. They can, you know, we can act as their personal stylist, help them shop, and, you know, give them thumbs up, thumbs down on whatever they try on. So that's also been a really amazing experience. The other thing that we do as well is we do a project called Cards for Troops. And last year, I believe we did about 2,500 Christmas cards that went out, holiday cards that went out.
Oh, Miss Paula. I saw the photos.
Yes.
I call her Miss Paula.
Yes.
Like, but I saw the photos, yes.
And, you know, she is so dedicated to this, so incredibly dedicated.
She does a great job.
She does do a great job. And her enthusiasm and excitement, I think, inspires every single person in the group and beyond. Because people will come in and they'll be like, I think I can do 20 cards. And then they come back and they're like, I think I can do 20 more. Okay, I think I can do 20 more. You know, we had one gal this year that did like almost 300 cards, and each of them has a very personal note inside.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really, nice.
Thanks for tuning in into the Junior League of Dallas Insight, featuring the stories that shape our league. Stay tuned, as new episodes will be dropping monthly. See you soon.